Welcome to Can I Park Here? Brought to you by findafashiontruck.com. Nashay and Estrell's mission is to inspire future and existing small business owners. They don't claim to be experts. They're simply trying to figure this all out, just like you.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of Can I Park Here? Brought to you by findafashiontruck.com. I'm Nashay Snow, and I'm here with
Estrell Riles.
Thanks for joining us for another episode. Of course, you can find any of the past episodes on our blog and podcast site, which is startafashiontruck.com. Also on that website, you can find a ton of resources on our resource page, which is just startafashiontruck.com/resources. And it's for anybody who is trying to start a fashion truck. And even if you're not trying to start a fashion truck, if you're trying to start any business at all, be it an online store or a mobile boutique, we have resources on there that talk about photography and figuring out what to do with a website and creating an online store. So definitely check it out if you're thinking about opening any type of boutique.
So in this episode, we've had the pleasure of chatting with Jessie Goldenberg. She's the owner of the Nomad Truck in New York. We had an awesome conversation about how she is about to start her own brick and mortar shop, and she is currently selling her truck. So if there are any aspiring mobile boutique owners out there and you're in the New York area, go to the nomadtruck.com and click on the link that says buy my truck, and then you can get all of the details in regards to the pricing for the truck and all of the details involved.
And she even talks about a little bit of kind of marketing strategies, like outreaching to like bloggers and other businesses, really, and how she kind of like stumbled upon some really great media coverage. So we think you will really enjoy it.
Here we go.
And we have Jessie here from the Nomad Truck. Welcome, Jessie.
Hi, guys. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, no, thanks for coming on. To start out, can you tell our listeners just a little bit about you and what kind of led up to you like owning a fashion truck?
Yeah, sure. So I grew up a little outside New York City, and I actually went to school here in the city. I studied film, and I wanted to be, in the film industry. I worked a little bit in the industry out of college, and I really quickly just realized that I wanted to own my own business and be my own boss. I've always loved fashion and loved traveling. And I realized that I, wanted to own a little boutique. I actually one day was working in a boutique where I live in Brooklyn, and I watched a clip on the Today Show about some fashion trucks out in the West Coast in, cities like LA and Seattle, and I was instantly inspired and thought that was, the perfect fusion of my two loves, traveling and fashion, and would be, a really more obtainable way of getting my small business started. Starting a small business here in New York City with, astronomical rents is really hard to do when you're fresh out of college. So doing it, in the form of a truck was a little bit more obtainable, and it was fun, and it seemed like a really cool, feasible way for me to, take my show on the road. So that's sort of how Nomad came to be.
Are you doing the business by yourself?
Yep, it's just me. I've had, we've been around for a little over 2 years now, and I've definitely had some part-time employees who've helped, and I wouldn't be able to have done it without them, but it's just me.
Wow. Sounds like a lot of work, but your truck is amazing. So for the listeners out there, if you go to the nomadtruck.com, it's like this really cool color. The logo is cool. Like everything about it looks amazing. So how did you come up with like the brand?
I work with a really great local design and development studio here in Brooklyn. They're called Mesh Design and Development, and they have been with me from the beginning. And so, when I first came up with the idea and, the name Nomad, I went out to lunch and with Megan, who's the lead designer at Mesh, and we sat down. We had our first branding session, and we sat down, and Megan was asking me questions like, if Nomad went out to lunch, what would she order? And with this really, really fun, branding session, and she sort of just took all these notes. She was actually the one that drew the logo, so that whole diamond with the feather, she hand drew that. And yeah, we just sort of, thought about, where we were going to put it, how we were going to use it, like what Nomad meant, as far as being a truck that actually physically is a nomad. It's a nomadic truck. It travels, how it really goes to what it stands to be for our customers, how our customers are really inspired by this sort of like wanderlust, gypsy, bohemian lifestyle, because we really represent that with the clothes and the accessories that we sell.
I see you guys have you have been in the press a lot. What was your first experience with the media?
My first experience with the media was actually with the Wall Street Journal. It was a couple weeks right after I opened, probably in May of 2013. It was funny.
That's big.
Yeah. Everything that's happened has really just been like a happenstance. I mean, I think it's just the magic of New York City and, doing something that's, a little bit weird in a big city where, you never know who might be standing next to you, under a street corner,
Right.
So I had the truck parked at an event in Prospect Park, and actually a woman who was running, she stopped and she saw the truck and she was like so overwhelmed and excited by it. And she was a reporter for the Wall Street Journal. So she was just on her Sunday morning run through the park. And so,
oh my goodness,
yeah.
What are the odds?
Yeah. That's like the magic of New York, and a lot of the stories that have been, a lot of the press that I've been so blessed to have gotten on the truck have literally been all situations like that. We've been parked on a street corner, and it's just that beauty of New York that people walking so fast they pick up their head for 1 minute. You never know who you're going to bump into. So
maybe I need to move there.
Yeah.
Right?
The more the merrier. Come on over.
Yeah, I think that's always like tricky for people though. It's like, because you might have like beautiful clothing or accessories or whatever you're selling in your boutique, beautiful truck, but it's like getting that exposure, I think, is hard for any business. If it's a truck or if it's like a brick and mortar store, like getting people to notice you and then getting people to talk about you.
Of course. Yeah. People ask me all the time, like, who does your PR? Like, how are you like affording to get, $1,000, these huge brand, PR companies? And I'm like, I have never spent a single dime on PR. It's literally just been, a matter of circumstance. I've just been really, really lucky.
Oh, that's awesome.
Amazing.
Yeah.
When you first decided that you wanted to do the fashion truck, did you have an idea already of what type of truck that you wanted, or was it just you ended up with that because that was what was available? Like, what was the process that you went through in terms of figuring out what truck you wanted and where you got it from?
Yeah, I had a lot of ideas. I went through a period where I wanted a school bus, and then I wanted, of course, like a retro Airstream, and then just looking at, all the fashion trucks that were already in existence and, all the food trucks. It just sort of seemed that, a step van, which is what my truck is, was, the best fit and would be the best sort of way for me to put it under construction and build it out myself. So I found my truck on Craigslist. So I, went searching on Craigslist and on eBay just for, step vans. And I set an alert on my phone for, I think, anywhere from Ohio to Pennsylvania. I was on a mission to find the perfect step van. And anytime a new one was listed, I would, get an alert on my phone. And, I test drove a bunch of different ones, and I actually found this one at a dealership out in Long Island, which is, in New York. And, it was, way out of my price range, of course. The second you get to the lot and you see something you love, and it was kind of like, I knew I wanted it. I knew I wasn't going to leave without it. And, I found a way to make it happen. I raised the money. I found a way to make it happen. And I'm glad I did it. It was in really, really good condition. It only had one owner before me. I was test driving a lot of trucks that, we're in pretty bad shape. And I think that that's a big mistake that often, new fashion truck owners make. They'll just, buy a truck that's really cheap and not really care about, what condition it's in. I think I always, tell any consulting clients that I have that I think it's, the truck is the foundation for your business. So if you have to shell out a little more money or take a little bit more time to raise some more capital, like you want to make sure that you're, going in with the best foundation that you can.
Then you'll save money in the long run.
Exactly. Yeah.
You just pay up front or you'll pay later.
Right. Because you never know. I mean, right. They're vehicles, it's not like, it's not a brick and mortar where it has a foundation set into the ground. They're vehicles, they have engines, they have motors, they have transmissions, and that stuff, it goes. So you never know.
I know now you've decided to sell the truck and you are going into a brick and mortar, which is a lot of people's dreams. Like a lot of people start the truck so then one day they can like open kind of like this awesome brick and mortar. So kind of what went into like your decisions for that, and what are your visions for like now this brick and mortar shop that you're about to open up?
We've been dealing with some, ongoing regulatory issues here in New York City in regards to the permitting for the truck. So at this point, I've kind of decided, I love the truck, but I think it's had its run here, and I've kind of want to set it, on its way, give it to its next owner, and I really want to open a brick and mortar and really establish our roots here somewhere in Brooklyn. We haven't actually found our space yet. We're still looking for the perfect space. We've had a really, really successful, loyal following, all up and down the East Coast. And I really think it's time now that we lay some solid roots here in Brooklyn and really expand the online store as well.
Cool. Now, will the online store be called Nomad? Or will it? Okay.
It's still going to be called Nomad. That's the whole thing with the branding, to go back to like what we were talking about earlier, is I know our website is the Nomad Truck and we've done a lot of stuff as the Nomad Truck, but our brand in itself is Nomad. So we're still sort of working on, how can we adapt to that? We have a lot of followers as the Nomad Truck. Is it going to be the Nomad Shop? How can we sort of fuse those two things? But, our brand is Nomad. So we're hoping to sort of use that to sort of jump into the next thing.
And will the products be the same as what's in the truck now?
Yeah, absolutely. So our thing with the truck was, everything was under $100. So that I think was a really, really successful price point for the truck, because we've, for shopping on a truck, a lot of things are impulsive. People see the truck and they're just so excited to come on board, and they just want to sometimes just buy something because they can say they bought it from a fashion truck, because they're just so overwhelmed with, oh my God, I've never been on a boutique on wheels before. This is so amazing, So I think, we benefited a lot from the whole impulse buy scenario that's, created when customers come on the truck. So to keep things in the price point, between 30 and 60 under $100 was really, really good for us. So, moving into a brick and mortar, I think, we're going to try to definitely keep most of our products within that price point, but then definitely skew a little bit higher up with when we can, bring in some higher end local designers and sort of do that as well.
And just so the listeners know, what type of products do you actually sell, and what's your style?
So we carry women's clothing, jewelry, and accessories. And I would say that our style is very bohemian, very California inspired, like effortlessly, chic. So a lot of like layering, fringe, tribal printed, just sort of fun, modern day gypsy-esque clothing.
As far as like the truck for the listeners, because I know even in our Facebook group, and we also get emails of people always like looking for trucks in their area or out of their area. Can you give the listeners a little bit more information about the sale, like what's included in the sale, how much the truck is going to be, or any other information that you think might be useful for someone out there who might want to kind of give this truck a second home?
Yeah, of course. So,
let us know, or let the listeners know, what the contact information is in case somebody actually would be interested.
Absolutely. Of course. Yeah, and I just want to start by saying, it is like I would love nothing more than to see this truck, continue on as a fashion truck. It would really break my heart for it to go on to be, even a food truck. I obviously want it to continue on, but I really would love it to continue on as a fashion truck. That would really, really mean the world to me. But yeah, so we're asking right now $55,000 for the truck. And obviously that is negotiable. But what that comes with is, a fully built out boutique on wheels. Our boutique has faux exposed brick walls. It has burlap wrapped walls. It has an entire cash wrap station. It has a fitting room. It has, vinyl wooden floors. It has shelving. It has, clothing rods. It has a staircase that actually folds in and out of the truck. It also has a mounted RV generator, so you can run power that way. Unfortunately, that generator is currently inoperable, but it needs to be replaced, but it does have the whole hookup. So the replacement would just involve physically, actually replacing the generator. They wouldn't have to rewire any electrical hookup. But we are also including a portable generator. So you can, set up shop tomorrow if you wanted. Comes with an AC heat unit. We could also include, some other things here and there that can be negotiable, such as, hangers, some fixtures, like a Bluetooth speaker, stuff like that, can also go into the sale. So can, a weatherproof winter door that we have if the truck is going to go somewhere where that's necessary. But any more information can actually be found on our website, which is thenomadtruck.com. And there is a Buy Our Truck tab, or you can just forward all inquiries directly to me. My email address is jessie@thenomadtruck.com. And that's JESSIE at thenomadtruck.com.
So how much crying did you do when you to give up the truck?
It's kind of bittersweet. I haven't really cried too much. It's kind of this whole, I feel like I cried more in sort of starting the truck and building it, and, all the nights I spent, figuring out how I was going to drive it, or how I was going to, figure out how to get this generator in and out, or how, all the little things you have to figure out, like getting lost in the middle of the night because I couldn't, take my truck on this one parkway where no trucks are allowed. So all the little things I feel like, made me, that I overcame, those are the things that I cried at. But this, I feel like, I've really become a big believer of everything, happens for a reason, and, you'll figure it out, you'll find your way. And I think as an entrepreneur, you have to just know that the only option really is to just keep pushing forward, and you'll find a way no matter what. I think to any, young entrepreneur or old entrepreneur, to any entrepreneur just starting out, or, maybe someone who just, hit a road bump, like you have to know that you'll get over it. You can't give up. Knowing that has really just, let me, sort of be at peace with the whole situation. And I'm really excited for the next step.
Yeah, I've heard of so many people, they are struggling with whether they should get into the business or not. And they don't want to necessarily take the risk because they're afraid that they might fail, or just tons of stuff. And I just say, go for it. Like, you're going to have hurdles that you have to go through, but at the end of the day, it's rewarding.
Yeah. I mean, it's one life, there's one life to do it. So you might as well just, full speed ahead. I think the risk is the best part. It's exciting not knowing what you're getting yourself into. So I think if you look at it, the glass is, half full or more than half full, you'll be rewarded in some way or another.
And a lot of people that hear of the truck owners selling their business, a lot of times it's not because they couldn't handle it, or, it was just too much. It's because something else bigger has come into their path. So they just can't juggle both of them. And I think that's what it is like in your case. You have something bigger and better that you are moving on to.
Right.
Yeah. And I think, I don't even know if I would necessarily say always like bigger and better, but it's like different, right? Because there's some people who go to brick and mortar to fashion trucks, and some people who go from one of those to online. I feel like it's really about like what fits your life at that time,
Yeah.
if, maybe, you're like, I don't feel like going in a truck or, opening a store. I just want to sell things online, sell things from my house and call it a day. Whereas other people are like, I want to like travel all over the world, all over the East Coast. And then maybe 4 years later, they might say, you know what, I'm a little tired of traveling, or maybe they just have a kid or whatever it might be. And they're like, I think I'll just, do a really cool shop in this little town in my area.
Yeah.
It's just like, I feel like it's just life right now, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this also, it kind of makes sense for me too right now. I'm getting married in 2 months, and, the past 2 years I've taken the truck all up and down the East Coast. I mean, we've gone to Florida, we've gone through, Savannah, Georgia, we've gone up to upstate, like, up to Ithaca, up through Cornell University. We've gone, I feel like I've just driven this truck thousands of miles. And so I feel like, it might be a good thing, maybe to just, grow some roots and, lay a little foundation for a while.
We always ask this because this is always like a huge question, but what did you choose for your point of sale system?
So I've actually hopped around a little bit. Currently I use Shopify because I use that with my online store. So it very seamlessly links inventory, and I really like how I can, get an alert on the phone, on the app, and sort of I have access to everything on my phone really well. But I've used Square previously, but what I didn't like about Square was the lack of inventory management. But I've sort of since heard that they might have upped their game a little bit since I switched over. One really big downfall that I've had with the Shopify app is just there's no real method of plugging in your cost of goods sold. So that's a really big downfall, I think, with all of the sort of like mobile point of sale systems that go through the iPad. Just with the back end of bookkeeping. But yeah, I like Shopify otherwise. I know that's a problem that people are always complaining about on their message boards, so maybe they'll get it sooner than later. But but it's really like well organized and just very accessible for myself and ever for any staff that I had. It was like very easy for them to use a code to sign in and could keep track of everything that was going on.
Because that was like connected, like whatever you sold in the truck, like if it happened to be on your online store, everything was just kind of connected together, correct?
Exactly. Yeah. It made that, very, very easy. So, if ever someone, purchased something from the online store, we would be able to deduct it from the inventory and know not to sell it, on the truck and vice versa.
Now, I know that, New York is kind of busy and congested. So, and then that there are like issues with parking and things like that. Are there any like events or craft fairs or what have you that you were able to participate in, like music festivals, anything like that?
Yeah, so there's a couple of really great like flea markets that are truck friendly here that happen on the weekends. There's one that's great called the Long Island City Flea Market, and that's actually in Long Island City, Queens, which is a new sort of up and coming area right across the river from Manhattan. People think when they hear Long Island City that it's so far away, but it's right across the river. It's one subway stop away from Manhattan. So it's a great new market, and they're really like they love the truck idea. So they're really open to it. So we've done really well there and been met with a lot of success. There's another fair in the Lower East Side called the Hester Street Fair, which happens on Saturdays, and they are also very open to fashion trucks. The Brooklyn Flea, which is like very well known all over the country, they are open to trailers, not so much trucks, but they're open to the idea of smaller trailers. I guess their space is just a little bit more awkward, and they can't really contain like the bigger trucks, but for any mobile trailers that are on the smaller side, they can accommodate that. As for, events like music festivals and that sort of thing, we've done our fair share of music festivals. There are a couple that happen, upstate New York that we've gone out of town for. We just did one over Memorial Day weekend called Mysteryland, which was really fun. It was up actually on the grounds of the original Woodstock. That was a really big blast. Yeah, we had a lot of fun there. We do a couple street fairs that happen, in New Jersey. We do one that happens in Hoboken, which is also right across the river, the opposite direction. Houston. And then we do a couple upstate as well. So, I found that, just there are a lot of online databases for, looking up street fairs and looking up events. And from time to time at these street fairs, I've had to pay, more for being a truck, for being bigger, but I've been able to sort of negotiate, pricing with the vendor coordinators. Once I send them a picture and sort of, talk to them about what I'm doing, they sort of understand more and aren't trying to, really rip me off. They really want to make it work for both parties. So I think at first when you say, oh, I'm, coming in, I have this big truck filled with stuff, I think people get really intimidated and they don't really understand. Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
Did you ever team up or collaborate with any local businesses? And if so, like, what type of tactics did you have to do in order to accomplish that?
Yeah, so I didn't have much success teaming up with businesses in New York City, but right across the river in a town called Hoboken, New Jersey, I've teamed up with a couple businesses over there. It's a little bit more like laid back. I think New York City is just too congested for anything like that. But in Hoboken, I had a lot of success teaming up with a salon, a hair salon that does like updos and braids and blowouts. And so we parked the truck out front and we sort of did like a really big collaboration where like we had like a boho braid bar. And so people got customers. Yeah. Any customer who bought, I think more than $50 on the truck got like a free boho braid. And anyone who booked like a blowout or, had a blowout there or booked like a future blowout package got like 15% off on the truck. So really good like cross promotions that benefit, both customers shopping in both businesses. We've also done, we used to do also in Hoboken, like a happy hour sort of event where we would park outside of a bar or happy hour or brunch, and we would actually have drink tickets. And so we would give, and again, any customer who spent over, say, $50, we would give them a drink ticket for, any sort of a mimosa or any, beer or something like that. And the bartender would then keep all the drink tickets. And at the end of the night, we would actually pay the tab for the drinks. But, the bar would give us, like $2 a beer or $2 a mimosa, like a really good tab for the drink tickets. And the bar would also at the same time, really publicize that we were going to be there and post on their social media. They had a really big following. So it was really beneficial for us, especially when we were just getting started, to sort of piggyback off of their social media.
Yeah. And speaking of social media, I see you have like almost like 8,000 followers on Instagram. Like, how are you able to build your followers?
Yeah. So, Instagram, we've been really successful on Instagram. A lot of it comes from, finding a niche in the hashtags. I think, we're always using hashtags, especially like boho and, boho jewelry and boho clothing and boho babes. I think it's also been a lot of, we did some blogger outreach over the holidays where we, tried to send some of our fashions that are on our website out to some local bloggers who we thought really sort of fit in with our style and our vibe. And, we collaborated with them where they would post about, our clothing, and they would tag us, and, then their followers, would be akin to what we are and who we are. And we got a lot of traction that way. It's also a lot of, I spend a lot of time on Instagram, may not be so proud of it, but I spend a lot of time doing outreach. I'll go on and I'll peruse the explore section, and I'll comment on other people. I'll like other people's pages. I'll like all the brands that we carry. I'll make sure they like me back. I definitely think it's also a lot of the traveling we've done, a lot of the college, we've done a lot of college, a lot of college campus events. We've made it mandatory that all the girls in the sorority we're doing an event like us on Instagram. So we've done a lot of stuff to really, kick our Instagram into full gear.
Yeah, social media is hard. Oh my God.
It's a full-time job.
So much time.
Yes. My fiance gets mad at me. He's like, "What are you doing on Instagram? Like, why are you on it every second?" And I'm like, "I'm really working. Like, I really am working." And he's like, "What are you working on?" And like, he doesn't understand. I'm not just, hanging out, like looking at who's doing work. Like, I actually am working,
Right.
That's like cliche. Like, I'll wake up at like 6 a.m. and I see like notifications on my phone because she's already on Instagram posting stuff. And I'm like, oh my God. He's like,
Well, it's weird because I figure like during the day when I work, I'm not on social media at all. So like as soon as I wake up, like literally I get out of bed, I'm like immediately like, okay, if I have a chance, let me immediately post like a photo and let me like some things and let me do some things because I give myself like 1 hour and then I know I'm going to be off of it for like 8-9 hours. So it's like first thing I do as soon as I wake up and last thing I do right before I go to sleep.
Hour in the morning on Instagram?
Well, no, it's not like a consistent hour. Like I'll like wake up and then do it. And then as I'm brushing my teeth, I might have my phone and I'm like liking stuff.
No, I totally feel that. Yeah. It's like the first thing I look at when I like wake up too. I just like scroll through, see what's going on, you know?
Yeah, right. It's just like, what's going on this morning, you know? And then I'll take like a little break. And then maybe as I'm like taking my vitamins and stuff, I'll like look at it a little bit more. If I stop off at Starbucks while I'm waiting for my coffee, I'll do a little something and then I'm done.
Yeah. Till the next day.
Right.
Until tomorrow.
That's pretty serious.
I mean, but it's like, it's the only way. And even that, you know, it's still like not enough because I feel like the people who are really, really successful with their different social media, it's like throughout the day. And because there's no automated way to do Instagram, if I'm just posting, let's say in the morning and then maybe at night, it's really not enough. You almost have to be posting like 3-4 times a day.
Oh yeah.
And I hate that there's no like system out there that just allows you to do it for Instagram, you know?
Right. Yeah. Something that like we've worked with in the past, that has helped is we've actually like created a content calendar. And just like, you know, even though there isn't a system for Instagrams like that, like I've definitely like made Instagram posts and this is like a secret, but you know, I've like made Instagram posts and posted them as if they were instant, even though I guess they're technically, you know, like later grams, but I haven't told people about that. So, you know, I definitely do that a lot too. Like I'll, even especially with the truck, I'll take like really nice styled pictures of clothing and stuff when times are slow, when there's, you know, not a lot of traffic and not a lot of customers coming in. And then I'll just like use them a couple days later. So
I mean, it's like the only way to do it.
Yeah, definitely.
So, Shay, I'll wait on you to get that together.
Wow.
And format it all. I'll just wait for you to do it, okay?
Wow. Well, you know, speaking of, you know, photography too, I feel like, you know, part of your brand is great photography. Do you just take it with your phone or do you have like a SLR? Like kind of what's your trick, you know, for even great styling, you know, because it seems like all your pictures have like a really cool style to them.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, all the pictures that you see on Instagram are taken with my phone. And I mean, I use a couple apps to edit them. You know, I have an SLR, but I don't really use it. The only pictures that we've really taken with, you know, in the studio or anything that's, you know, like on our website, even though there's a couple on there right now that I've actually also just taken with my phone, but any of the studio pictures were taken on our website. But, you know, I think just again, in terms of branding, you know, we just really wanted to, you know, capture things that are sort of like fleeting. So a lot of, you know, our Instagram pictures are sort of from far away. They're really wide shots. They, you know, show a lot in frame. And I think that's just sort of important, you know, in terms of showing this whole sort of like wanderlust thing, like taking everything in, sort of seeing everything vastly. So that's sort of what I try to keep in mind, you know, in all my posts is just like trying to keep the most things in frame and trying to, you know, see more than just, you know, what the normal eye sees.
And I know you said you studied film. Do you ever like do like little videos or mini like almost commercials? Or are you like completely kind of out of it or over it?
Well, I mean, I'm definitely not completely out of it. I think it actually, you know, it actually, a lot of the skills that I learned studying film definitely, you know, come to light. in owning a business and running a business and with all the Instagram and everything like that. We haven't done much video in terms of, the brand with Nomad, but what we did do was about a year ago, I did take a trip down south with some of my friends from college, and we actually did make a little short documentary about Nomad. It's actually called Nomad on the Road. And if you go to our Vimeo page, you can see the trailer and you can see the whole film. And it's a really cute short documentary about all the different cities we went to on the road, and why I started the truck. And yeah, if you go to our website and you hit the Vimeo link, it's on there. And our Vimeo is just the Nomad Truck on Vimeo, so you can check that out as well.
Yeah, and for all the listeners out there, we'll make sure to include a link in the show note.
Yeah, it was really a really fun thing to make that video, because it was actually like a fusion of both worlds, like my film world and then, the fashion truck world, and, how everything sort of, became one.
Yeah, no, it's really cool. Yeah, I love your brand. I love your style. So I can't wait to see kind of what you do with the brick and mortar shop, like once you find a space, because I'm sure it's going to look amazing.
Thank you. You guys got to get out here to Brooklyn. Check it out.
I know. Yeah. I try to go to New York, because I'm in the DC area. So it's like a, 3-4 hour drive.
Yeah,
so.
Not too bad.
Yeah, it's not horrible. As long as you leave at the right time,
Right. Catch the window. Yeah.
Since you are a successful entrepreneur, most of our listeners are aspiring mobile boutique owners. Can you give the listeners a little business advice or any type of tips that you think would be really good for them to know once they decide to venture out into this business?
The one tip I think is the best tip that, anyone has ever given me is just, be confident in yourself. There are going to be a lot of people, especially since this is such a new idea. It's a new industry. It hasn't, it's rapidly growing, but, it hasn't been around for decades. It's a completely new realm. There are going to be a lot of people who don't understand and who don't, maybe aren't on board fully and might not understand why you're doing this and, what's going on. And just, stay confident and keep moving forward, because no matter what happens, there are going to be bumps along the way, literal bumps on the road that, maybe pop your tires and, other figurative bumps as well. But just, stay for the course, because you can get there. And as long as you just remain confident in yourself, you can do anything if you put your mind to it. You really can.
Did you have any mentors or anybody that you relied on for advice when you were getting ready to start the truck and or the brick and mortar store?
So when I was just first starting out, my one mentor was actually another fashion truck owner. She has since sold her truck actually to go on and open a brick and mortar store as well. She had a truck called Top Shelf out in San Francisco. Her name is Christina Battle. She was a really big mentor to me, and she actually was the one who gave me the advice to stay confident. So I always thank her for it. So she was, a mentor to me. Stacy and Janine from the AMRA have always been mentors, and really just my family. My family, I'm blessed to have, a really supportive family and great friends who, have supported me along the way and, come shop on the truck and come help out whenever I'm shorthanded. And, you just really need to lean back on the people who are there to support you, because, it's not easy, but, it's definitely something, if you have the heart to do it, you can definitely do it as long as you just keep going.
It's great that you have mentors, or you have mentors along the way. So, definitely encourage the listeners to find someone to talk to, it's almost like, they always say surround yourself with successful people, and your mentor should be someone that, you almost want to emulate. Like if they have a successful business, or if they're doing something right, you can learn something from them. Right. But it's always good to have that person or people, really.
Yeah, of course.
Well, we are going to just ask a few questions to help get or help the audience get to know you a little bit better. Do you have a favorite podcast, blog, or book? And if so, what is it?
My favorite book is On the Road by Jack Kerouac.
Oh, what's that about?
It's about a a guy from like the Beat generation who just sort of crosses the country many times on the road. It's just beautifully written. Definitely a must read for anybody out there.
So you definitely are in love with travel.
I am. Yeah. It's invigorating. I love everything about it. I love the mystery and the adventure.
And for your truck or your future brick and mortar store, if you could have any celebrity, entertainer, model, athlete, you name it, visit, who would it be?
Oh man, that's a tough one. Do they have to be alive?
No.
Oh. I think maybe I would have. Well, actually, no, she's alive. I would have Stevie Nicks come in and visit. Yeah. I would love for her to come in and visit. I think she
really that she has that boho style.
Yeah, she's definitely a style icon and inspiration for me and for our brand.
You'd know she'd come in and spend a lot of money.
I hope so. I could give her a discount.
Right.
Yeah.
And then, what do you like to do on your free time to just kind of like wind down and de-stress?
Free time, yeah. I mean, so I shamelessly love binge watching Netflix. I could just love getting into watching TV shows just for hours whenever I have the time, which isn't too often, but I try to make time for it. I love just, exploring new restaurants. I love, eating out and trying new food. I'm kind of a little bit of a foodie, I guess, although I'm probably the pickiest foodie you've ever met. Yeah. And then, just, I guess, shopping. I love going into other boutiques. I love going to markets and stuff, actually also as a customer and supporting other small businesses when I'm not working. Running, yoga, that sort of stuff as well.
Do you watch any of the Netflix original series?
Yeah, I mean, Orange is the New Black. I definitely watched that. House of Cards.
Yeah, they have, what is the one that I'm obsessed with? Hemlock Grove.
Oh, I haven't seen that one.
Oh my God, it's really good. If you like the whole vampire werewolf thing, it's really good.
I can get into that as long as it's not too scary.
It's not scary.
Yeah, okay.
I didn't even know the second season was out. I watched the first season way back when.
It came out last year. The second season came, last year.
Well, I'm like one of those Netflix people where I'll buy it for like a month or two and then I'll disconnect it. And then when people tell me there's a whole bunch of good stuff again, I'll buy it for another month.
Yeah.
I will never get rid of my Netflix.
Yeah, I can't never either. Yeah.
And then there's another show that I think just came out a couple months ago called Bloodline. And that's really good too. And it's not at first I thought it was going to be like a creepy show because I was really into it, but it's not. It's talking about the family bloodline.
Oh, okay.
Dysfunctional family or whatever.
Oh, I like that.
Was really, really good. It was good.
Oh, I'm going to look that one up. I like that. That sounds good.
And then also Android or iPhone, and what's your favorite app?
Definitely iPhone. And I think my favorite app is probably ViscoCam, just because I'm always using it to edit my photos, which maybe that's kind of lame, but I think I use it the most, more than any other app.
Yeah, Nashay tried to get me to download that a while
ago. I love it.
Yeah,
I downloaded it. So I did it, but then I tried to use it, and it was really overwhelming for me, and I got pissed off, and I deleted it.
Yeah. Well, I actually only, this is another weird thing about, our Instagram. I only use one filter. And so that was something that I had decided with our, when in the whole branding and everything. So it's very straightforward. Every time I go in, I pretty much do the same thing. So it's kind of streamlined the whole process. So
yeah, no, I love ViscoCam because I'm one of those app junkies. So as soon as someone says something new, I read an article about it, then I'll download it and try it. And I've tried a ton of the photo editing apps, and ViscoCam is just the best.
Yeah.
I think I have Tada and Afterlife or Afterlight, I think it's called. But
I tried that for a second. That really threw me off, that one.
Yeah, it just didn't feel right. It was just too weird. It was just too much. But ViscoCam is you're right. It's easy.
It is easy.
And especially once you figure out how it works, then you're okay, I'm going to go in here. I'm going to use these settings. Bada bing, bada bam. It's great. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know what version I had because it was not easy.
I will say, though, that Uber is probably a close second to ViscoCam.
I've been meaning to try Uber. I've downloaded it, and one of my friends actually gave me a link. So then when I use it, I think he gets like a free ride or whatever.
Okay.
But I haven't used it yet. But everybody who's used it like loves it.
Yeah, I mean, it's good for so I live in Brooklyn, and so it's not as easy to get a cab out here, or, it's not as easy to get a cab from Manhattan that wants to take you all the way to Brooklyn. So with this, they don't have a choice almost. So it's great. I mean, I love it. And I almost wish that my credit card was not connected to it because it gets me in a lot of trouble sometimes.
Just come pick me up. I'm not walking.
Yeah.
Well, I just love the concept of Uber period, because even for the listeners out there, let's say if you're a new entrepreneur, right? You're not making that much money yet. You could just sign up to be an Uber driver and kind of have another little side hustle to help you out. Yeah. And
to try to get me to do that too. But I don't like random people in my car. I barely like people in my backseat, period. Even people I'm really, really OCD with my car.
Are you? Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, I just I can never keep my car clean. So I always have boxes of hangers and boxes of new merchandise. So I could never have a passenger who is, looking for a luxurious journey with me.
Right.
So
it's I'm gonna get you to point A and point B. Something might hit you, but you're getting there.
You might get hit in the face by a mannequin, but it's gonna be okay.
Right. Neat.
Okay, so for the last question, what would you attempt to do if you knew you could not fail?
Wow, that's a crazy question. If I probably go to space.
Oh, that's a cool answer. I like that answer.
Yeah, I mean, I think I would probably travel to outer space and travel to a different planet and set up shop there for a little while.
No, that's neat. God, I think that's one of the most unique ones we've gotten. That's totally random. I love it. And as a sci-fi junkie, I'm that's a good idea.
Yeah, I don't know.
I thought about as soon as she said that, I immediately went to that TV show Extant. Halle Berry went to space and she got impregnated by aliens. Okay. Being that you're about to get married, that might not be that could be problematic.
Yeah, but that's space is the place where, the one place we can't go, really. So if I knew I would have a safe travel there, I'd probably go.
No, great idea. And where can the audience find you?
So our website is just www.thenomadtruck.com. And then you can also find us on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram, and our handle on all of those 3 platforms is The Nomad Truck.
Well, I definitely encourage the listeners to go over to this website because they do have some really cute clothes. So if you're kind of a boho chic style, you're going to find some really cute pieces over there.
Thanks.
Well, thank you for coming on the show. Really
so
appreciate it. Yeah, thanks for sharing. Yeah.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Great episode. I mean, I feel with this one and Patterns and Pops, got some really good Instagram tips. Really good Instagram tips.
Yeah, even though, they're great tips, I still feel that you are better on Instagram than me. So I hope you implement those new tips. Put those tips to good use, Nishay.
Wow. It's really hard with Instagram because definitely I would say the tags are a good thing, right? So I even have tags that we use over and over again. I have groups of tags that I use for different things because I feel they'll give us results and help us get a couple of followers here and there. But I think the trickiest part, and it's not really tricky, but the part that we probably could do better at it, and I know we can, but I've just probably been too lazy, is really like reaching out to others and collaborating a little bit more. So, we're kind of promoting each other's businesses, because I feel like that is like the key. So maybe we'll experiment with that over the next month. And then those of you out there, like, you could see if it kind of helps our IG followers grow or not. And for those of you out there, follow us. Thank you. FFT_official_. Please, please, please. But yeah, but no, so great tips. And, it all kind of comes down to photography again, too, because they do have she does have like really cool style.
Yeah, and it seems like a lot of people are going with the boho chic style, which I love, by the way. I freaking love it.
No, I like it too. Because it's kind of like that easy breezy, kind of like baggy but not, a little bit of lace, kind of lots of neutral colors. But yeah, that style and that trend is definitely popular right now.
And I also thought it was kind of cool that throughout all of the hustle and bustle in New York City and how it's just, really congested, and she still managed to reach a lot of people and catch people's eye in order to get that word of mouth and then the additional media coverage. So that's awesome.
And her, for the listeners out there, if you haven't already, go to her website, the Nomad Truck. It's just like a cool truck. The truck is like a yellowy. Would you consider that a yellow? I'm not sure exactly, like a mustard maybe kind of color. And then it is like this cool kind of like hand-drawn logo. So it just looks cool. So I could just see it on the streets of New York, and people are like, wow, what is that? So I could see how she was able to kind of get a lot of exposure, because it looks unique and fun and different. And another thing I just wanted to touch on briefly, we talked about it, is I know some people out there are going to think like, what should I do? Should I do brick and mortar, online, or a fashion truck? And I personally don't feel like there's one right answer, or that any of them are better than the other. I really do feel like it depends on you. It depends on your lifestyle. It depends on, what you're trying to sell. There's so many different variables. Right. Yeah. And I feel like Estrella and I, we've heard people who started online and then went to the fashion truck, people who started brick and mortar, then went online and then fashion truck, people, everybody has their own path. It's just, you need to answer a couple of questions, like budget, like, do you like traveling? Like, whatever.
Driving.
Right. Because each one I feel like takes a little bit of work. Like, for example, if it's a brick and mortar store, you got to get people in the door. If it's an online store, you got to drive people to the website and convince them somehow in an online form to do that. If it's a truck, you got to get people to follow you and come out to where you are. So I don't think there's any easy one. Each one poses its own challenge. Some ventures cost more than others, but it's like, you just have to determine what's right for you.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I enjoyed talking to her. I've got some great nuggets, so I hope you guys got some awesome nuggets too.
God, with the nuggets.
I like the nuggets. Oh, and I will just say, so you guys have heard me talk before say before that I am a complete sci-fi junkie. So I loved her answer to what would you do if you cannot fail, because I think I would want to go to space too.
And then you would get impregnated by the alien spores.
Oh God. Why do you have to take it to this dark place?
It's creepy, and I love creepy stuff. So that's where my mind goes all the time.
I'll just kind of put it out there. And I think, of course, you guys would think I'm kind of like cray cray. But I'm just saying, we're not the only ones out there. There's a big universe. So just to be able to explore that.
Oh, this is where you're going with that. Oh, okay. I thought you were about to talk about something related to the episode.
Okay, let's bring it back. Let's bring it back.
Anyway, so with the craziness aside, if you like our podcast, even the tiniest bit, would you please do us a solid and go to iTunes, rate us, and leave a review? We'd appreciate it.
And also, we're itching to get more questions. I don't know why I'm just so excited to try to get some voicemail messages from people. I don't know. I feel like it's cool hearing from you guys when you all email us or post stuff in the Facebook group. It's always fun, but to actually hear your voice is pretty cool too. If you have a question for us about anything, or if you just want to say hey and would love for us to play it on the episode, be sure to go to our contact page or go to, startafashiontruck.com, and, we'll play it on air, and it gives you a chance to even plug your business. Please, plug it. We just ask that, you keep it short, not create an episode on the voicemail. But
yeah, so any questions you have, it doesn't even have to be related to the mobile retail business. It could be business related, or even if you want to just ask personal questions about Nashe and I. I mean, not too personal, but, just about maybe how we got started in the business and what we do. So, just go for it.
Yeah. So it's on the podcast. Oh, go ahead, Ashra.
We love questions.
We do. I know. I love answering questions. So yeah, podcast main page or contact page. And also, as always, please follow us on Twitter or IG, and that's FFT_official_. And on the other social media accounts like Pinterest, Facebook, Google+, almost every place but Snapchat. Search Find a Fashion Truck and we should come right up. And of course, you can find those links on findafashiontruck.com, the directory, or startafashiontruck.com. We're really into Periscope. Okay, sorry, not we, but I'm really into Periscope right now. So if you follow us on Periscope, we'll definitely follow you back and check out what you're doing. And thank you guys for tuning in. You all motivate us to do this every week and on most days. So, as far as just connecting with you all on social media, but you guys motivate us to keep going. So thank you, and have a great day.
Thanks for parking here.